You're
This is
looking
true.
good, baby.
Thank you. Thank you. You are glowing though. Like
Oh, thank
I
you.
don't know. Did you do your regiment today? Like you look.
So it's a combination. I did my regiment, but I'm also on that diet. So I am eating lots and lots of greens because I cannot eat anything else that is calorie rich.
Mm,
Like, the good things like pizza, pasta, all those things that you really want, but
yeah.
aren't really good for you because they have tons of refined sugars because America allows them to put whatever they want in there. But if you just eat leafy greens with the skinny girl,
Oh, look
um,
at you. Look at you getting our plug.
the skinny girl, Honey Dijon, is giving it, ladies.
Mm,
If you want a very low calorie salad dressing, delicious. And I'm eating nothing but salad greens mostly. And
so you're on your greens. Your face is looking just amazing.
yes,
Honestly, like
thank
you
you.
usually have a natural glow, but it's shining
Thank
today.
you. Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
no problem. And so you're learning new music. The vocal lessons are going well.
The vocal lessons are going delightful.
Nice.
Shout out to my vocal coach, Joseph Clark.
Hey, Joseph.
Yes, he's amazing.
So just between you and me, and not everybody listening to this podcast,
Yeah,
Joseph, is he a
he is a
cutie?
homosexual.
Is
He's
he
so cute.
is he
He
cutie
is a
patootie?
he's like me but hot.
Well, no,
So tall,
you're gorgeous, so he
black,
must be amazing.
but like I hate like I am masculine because I have both masculine and feminine energies within me because
Hmm.
we all do because sperm and an egg.
Sure.
But I think I reside more on like the feminine energy and he kind of resides more center.
Okay.
Maybe if I'm center femme, he's probably center mask.
Okay. All right. I
So
can picture that spectrum. Okay. Yeah.
yeah. And like I don't know, he's just an adorable human being and I have followed his career ever since he was like in high school singing for Resound. He's a little younger than me, slightly younger than me, not too much, but he's
Oh,
slightly
you're
younger.
getting vocal lessons from somebody that you've like adored.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's
Like
awesome.
I've known he used to live in Richmond.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, blank that out, but like,
I
yeah,
ding, got it. Got it.
yeah. But he is very good. He's very like motivational. I had a breakdown with him the last lesson and he just like listened.
Aw.
He was like, I'm here for more than just like your lessons.
So
And
you know what? You're paying for the time, right? So you can help me.
I'm paying for a therapist.
That's right. You can pay me to
I
sing. You can pay to
a
listen.
music a musical therapist for $300 a month. So,
The check goes through either way, right? So,
right? He's just like,
oh,
so you got this 30 minutes, whether you just want to cry or if you just want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 8, 5.
oh, look at you. Okay. Well, Joseph, I don't know if you're out there, but if you are, thank you for helping my brother with his voice and for listening to him. So, you are loved. That's awesome. Well,
Thank you, Joseph.
Tim, I don't know that we really planned on starting the recording at this point, but we did. So,
Yeah.
so we're here to
So,
talk. We're going to talk about TV today. Our favorite,
yes,
our
we're gonna
favorite
talk about
TV
all
shows.
things TV. Well, I won't say all things because if it's okay with you, I'd like to rule out reality TV
Wonderful. I don't partake that
because,
much, so that's fine. Yeah.
well, I mean, I have a lot to say about reality TV, and it will overshadow the rest of it. So, like, maybe
Okay.
we'll do another podcast about
Or we could do a little cutout at the end of like what reality you're watching right now and what you've been following, maybe.
exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you want to start it off?
Let's do it, Tim. Let's do it.
Hi, I'm Tim
And I'm Bear, and this is Cub.
and Chubb. Pew, 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 pew.
Welcome back.
Today we're talking about TV, all things television shows.
Yeah.
And right now we're going to talk about the TV that we used to watch growing up.
Tim, were you a Disney kid or a Nickelodeon kid?
So, I want to say I was very Nickelodeon because we
Same.
didn't have Disney.
We didn't have Disney.
Um,
Disney was extra.
I didn't know about Disney until I firmly got maybe like in my older teenage years.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So I knew of Disney, but our babysitter had it. So it was only when we were
oh,
at her house when she was in a
mm.
good mood because that's a different episode. But anyway, we would go to her house.
Ooh,
And if she let us watch TV, then
what if she
sometimes
let you watch
I
TV?
don't want to talk about it. But if she did, no, you know what? It's not that she had it. That's what it was, Tim. She actually didn't have it. I don't know if you remember. Maybe you didn't have this by the time you got to your age, but the cable channels would have like those free pass weekends or weeks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So what would happen is occasionally she would have that on her TV. So it's like if she was in a good mood and we
Mhm.
hadn't pissed her off or something, she might let us watch TV. And if it was the Disney Pass weekend, you could
Mhm.
watch Kids Incorporated and Gummy Bears and all that stuff.
That's how
So,
I saw Xenon Girl of the 21st Century for the first time.
oh, okay, yeah, that's not something I know. Okay,
Oh, there was a sequel.
a
Um,
sequel.
yeah, in which they took Olivia. What's her real name? From the Cosby, the Raven Simone.
Oh yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
took Raven Simone as the best friend off of Xenon and put some other random girl who then was in The Color of Friendship. But yeah,
Ooh, okay.
so that was T. But
I
yeah,
apologize.
that was a Nickelodeon.
I got us sidetracked. Tim, what were like some staple shows? So we've alluded to this before, but I know that you came up in a more religious raised background than I
Yes.
did. So I've always kind of assumed, as we talked over the years, that secular music and other pops of pop culture sometimes were or weren't allowed in the household. So like,
It,
What does TV look like for Tim growing up in a house like that?
I don't I don't want to say that it wasn't allowed. It's just like I didn't know about it. So it's kind
Hmm.
of hard to like restrict something that doesn't exist to you, you
Sure.
know. So I sometimes I would sneak and watch Sailor Moon. Uh
No.
yeah,
You would watch Sailor Moon growing up?
I snuck and watched Sailor Moon and I thought that that was so cute.
Tell
And now
me, tell me
I
you're gay
went
without
back.
telling me you quay.
Bro, I was so Sailor Jupiter and
mm.
boy crazy and just willing to not fight. But you know, she was tall, she had brown hair, she was everything. She had a pink little thing in her hair. I was like, yes. But
I was gonna listen to this and love you even more. He just watched like the remake they did recently, so like the revamped
yeah, yeah, yeah.
version, and he's loving it. So
Yeah, it's really cute. I watched Sailor Moon Crystal. Is it Crystal?
sure,
Yeah.
I did not partake, but I hear you.
I partook on it and it was pretty good. I enjoyed what I saw. But I will say this. When I first went back and rewatched that, it's the same thing that I also got as I got older, I was able to uh kind of do what I wanted to do. Basically,
Mhm.
I was the last child of older parents. So they kind of were like, we're old, we're tired. We're not going to like we're not going to monopolize your time. Go away,
Yeah.
basically. And so a lot of times I got to go in my room and watch, some TV that was on UPN. Children, there was a whole black network called UPN.
UP to the end.
Yes. I do not know what it stood for. It was not BET.
It wasn't. Yeah.
No. And it had things like Girlfriends and Moesha and the Parkers. And so I watched some of those as I got, this was like as I was a teenager though.
Mm-hmm.
As a child, I didn't get too much. I would hear on the bus about Power Rangers
Sure.
and Dragon Ball Z, which if my mama won't paying attention too much,
Mm-hmm.
I would get on the TV early enough to like see a Dragon Ball Z and know that it wasn't for me.
Did you get residual TV from your brother? Like whatever he was watching, maybe you got to watch too, or
So he was grown by the time I got to a point where
he was too
yeah,
old. Yeah. Okay.
he was doing what older teenagers with girlfriends do.
Sure. I don't know what that
Yeah.
is, but that's great.
Uh-huh. And yeah. Give your
Gotcha.
children condoms.
That's right. Have the talk early.
Yes.
Um, okay, so Sailor Moon. Name me some other like staples of Tim's childhood.
Staples of Tim's childhood was the TBN network, Trinity Baptist Network. Had a lot
Yes,
of,
yes.
had a lot of TD Jakes.
Ooh,
I saw Clefro Dollar. I can never say his name correctly. Yeah. I saw, uh, just good singing. Like it
mm,
seemed like everybody was in church 24/7, which I was in church just about every day,
yeah.
but it felt like they were at church all the time. I was like, so around the world, somebody's in church all the time. That's how we get shows.
Now, okay, so that's you growing up and what's kind of getting what you're allowed to watch. I
Yeah.
do remember as us having a conversation about WWE. And
Yes.
so I'm kind of wondering
So okay.
at what age does Tim start like
So
getting to the outside world?
so WWE happened around maybe like 12 or 13.
Yeah, it did.
My mom, my not my mom. My mom was like, get these white men away from me. But my dad and brother
Hmm.
were like, oh yeah, fighting, masculinity, toxically, let's look at it. And I was like sweaty,
Half naked.
oily, half naked, junk just out there,
Just hanging.
rubbing against like bulging biceps. Like, why wouldn't I watch that with my dad and brother? My, of course, they were like, "Yeah, can't believe he did that triple star flex, whatever." And I was like, "Uh huh." I was like, "He's got that man between his legs.
Hmm.
That's where I want to be." Like, so shout out to Triple H, shout out to John Cena, shout out to there really weren't a lot of black like black wrestlers, but the ones everybody black. Shout out to y'all. Um, but shout out to the Big Show for sure.
I knew without asking you. We've never even talked about the Big Show, and
I
I knew you had a thing for the
I
Big
mean the
Show.
Big Show was my big crush. So yes. What about you? What did
Well,
you
no.
like growing up?
A side note on the wrestling thing. So what I realized in and actually kind of prepping for the show, was thinking about it. I watched wrestling as a 5 year old, a 6 year old. I got into wrestling really young. Me and my cousin
Oh,
Al. He was a WCW kid. I was a WWF kid. Never the twain shall meet. That's a different
there
conversation.
were different ones.
There were this is we can't do that here, but there were two different ones, and eventually the bigger one bought the smaller one. And they all came
Oh,
over. Do you remember Booker T from your days of watching? He would have been over in WWF during your 13, 14 year old time frame.
so I came around the time that like they were changing the name from
Oh, yes.
WWE to WWF or from WWF to WWE. Yeah, because of the World Wildlife Foundation. It was a thing.
Yeah, Booker T was one of the prominent black wrestlers of that time period because he came over from the smaller organization they bought out. So he was
Oh.
one of their top guys. So he fought Triple H. He fought a bunch of those guys during that time period.
Well, you know what? I probably did like fall in love with him just because I was in love with everybody black. So,
Yes, he's amazing.
Yeah.
But I grew up with wrestling and watched it forever. But what I realized is like even as a kid and when I kept watching into my teens, it wasn't a source of like homoeroticism for me.
Mm.
I think that there was like it's kind of like rock stars. Like there's a lot of like people in bands that I appreciate, but I'm not attracted to them.
Yeah.
I think they're cool, you
Hmm.
know, and like, oh, his hair is so cool, blah blah blah. But I don't remember like lusting.
Oh,
Do you know what I
okay.
mean? And I think I might have an aversion to the muscly bodybuilding aspect. Like I've never
Yeah,
been that
yeah.
guy. But I remember like Shawn Michaels. I don't know if you remember Shawn Michaels. He was Triple H's best friend,
Okay.
but he was kind of out
He was
on.
the one that was shorter.
He was the shorter of the two.
Okay.
He was my hero, and I absolutely love him. And we've talked way too much about wrestling on a TV podcast, so I'm gonna pivot because we have a time crunch. So I loved wrestling growing up. When I was a kid, David the Gnome on Nickelodeon. Did you
Ah,
David the Gnome? I
that's so cute. I don't. So up until maybe like 3 months ago,
mm-hmm.
gnomes were not really a thing in my life.
Okay,
For
sure.
some reason, gnomes are everywhere here.
The creeping.
They are literally in this house. They are at my job. The girls are talking about gnomes that I work with. They're just like, oh, we have a holiday gnome that is, for each holiday they have a gnome. So I'm just like, girl, I was like, I got too many actual gnomes in my life.
Yeah.
Um,
So
shout
Dave,
out to yeah,
shout out to David the Gnome, the best Canadian cartoon to ever come out of there.
yeah.
So David the Gnome, I was definitely a Nicktoons kid. So Ren and Stimpy, Rugrats, Doug, that whole block. I was all about that life.
Hmm.
I can't get out of growing up and not talking about Buffy. When I got into my late teens,
Yes.
Buffy, who also eventually was on UPN, because
Right?
her last two seasons ended up on UPN from WWB.
WB.
From WB and moved over to UPN. So what's
Thank you
up?
for catching yourself.
That's right.
Um,
Oh my god. Oh wow.
okay,
We grew up with a lot of mess.
listen, the stuff now, like these babies couldn't take the stuff.
No,
No,
no, they would
no.
melt. They would fall to pieces.
Listen,
Um,
the
but Buffy was a
colorism.
yes,
Okay.
yes. I know. So when did you fall in love with Charmed? We cannot talk about Charmed. When did Charmed
Oh my
happen?
God. I fell in love with Charmed in my, I was at least, I know I was 18 or 19. And
Okay,
this was
okay.
like in the height. Like, when did it first come on?
So Charmed is in the school with Buffy and Dawson's Creek. So we're talking late '90s, early 2000s.
Yeah. So, like, I
So
came in around the time that Rose McGowan had, like, started her thing, where she was already kind of there. But then going
ooh,
back, I realized she was not there the whole time.
right, they had to kill off one of them because she was being shady behind the
She,
scenes. Was that Shannon Doherty?
mm-hmm.
Yeah, Shannon Doherty had to be written off, and then they brought in
Yep,
Rose
she sure
McGowan.
did. Well, we love you, Shannon Doherty, for the things that you have done for TV.
Yes, no, and a
Yes,
strong female
yes,
actress who doesn't take
strong.
strong.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. Okay, okay. We have we've been on this segment for a minute. Tim, what are you watching today? Like, what is in your wheelhouse of today kind of shows?
So I'm so thankful that we now have. Um, there was a time where there wasn't a lot of black TV or black writers writing black TV. And I'm very happy that we now have that.
I am so sorry. I think the wine pouring came through.
I heard it, and I was just like, I was just like, I want you to say that it was wine being poured.
That was wine being poured to our listeners. I'm so sorry.
I want you to know that you're the crystal.
I'm the
So, um, you're the alcoholic.
and you're the fury. So that's good. That's good.
I will hammer it. Anyway,
Sorry.
shout
Sorry.
out to Kid Fury because he is a writer on rap shit.
Rap shit.
It's an amazing show on HBO Max. But I loved Insecure. I was watching Insecure. I want to shout that out first before I go into what I'm actually watching right now because it is gone, but it's still on HBO. You can watch it.
Yep.
I just finished watching a couple of episodes. I'm really behind on Abbott Elementary. I was watching a couple episodes of that today. I'm watching. I know that we said we weren't going to do reality TV.
No, it's all right. Go.
I'm watching RuPaul's Drag Race. I am watching. What else? I'm watching a lot because there's nothing to do in this undisclosed location that I'm at.
The bunker is real. Yeah.
I was rewatching Kimmy Schmidt. Speaking of bunkers, the first two seasons are great, and then it gets a little weird.
It gets really weird.
Yeah. Also rewatching Weeds.
Oh, I didn't realize you were a Weeds person. Did we not know this about
Weeds?
each other? Did I forget this? Did you know that I loved Weeds?
No, but I don't know anybody who doesn't love Weeds. At least the first season.
It's because it's Showmax. So wait.
No.
Wait.
It's
Showtime.
Showtime.
I said Showmax. I've had a little bit of wine.
Cinemax.
It's I believe it was a Showtime. It was Showtime or Cinemax. One of those two.
I didn't get into it until maybe the fourth season because that's when I thought I was rich and I was gonna get these things. That's another story for another day. But now, thanks to the power of Hulu and all these streaming services that aren't as much as actual cable, but might as well be cable at this point.
Yeah.
I'm able to rewatch things.
Yeah.
And really be critical with an adult mind about it. I just want to say this, Moesha, she was whiny and her mother died and that's fine, but she doesn't have to hate on her friends.
Moesha, in hindsight, that's a different show. But man, she was just Battlefront. It's come on.
She was
every episode.
You don't understand what it's like to be a privileged young lady with no mother, and everybody else was like, but you don't know what it's like to be poor.
Right.
And with nothing.
You have lights on in this episode and your friend doesn't, and we're very sorry about that.
And now you're mad because he won't give you your $35 back.
Oh, we love Brandy.
Or you run away from anybody. Okay.
Sorry.
Listen, we love you, Brandy.
We love Brandy.
You're driving better, and that's great. So
keep it rolling. Keep it rolling. Keep it rolling.
I love there are so many shows that are on now, but I'm also rewatching things, and I'm watching it with the lens that I have now. And honestly, I have been thinking about doing, if we ever get to the place where we do Patreon or something, I would love to do Timmy's Couch.
Yeah.
And it would just be me either crying about some bullshit because I think about stuff too deeply, or I'd be going, and this is America, and this is how people are treated, and it's not right.
Yep.
But then, I really enjoy me watching TV. So I would assume other people would too. But yes, what are you watching now?
So right now, actually, funny enough, Abbott Elementary is probably my favorite show that's on TV right now. It's just the writing's amazing. That entire cast deserves everything they're getting right now. They're just absolutely wonderful. If you're not watching Abbott, you know who's not watching Abbott Elementary? Almost all of my teacher friends. And it's mostly because
They don't want to be triggered.
it's too close to home. So almost
Yeah.
all of my, a lot of
Because it's real.
it's really real. A lot of me and Tim have friends that are music teachers because of where we went to school.
Shout out to y'all.
And almost all of them like, have you seen Element? She's like, I can't do it. I'm like, it's okay, it's all right, I get it. But Abbott's amazing. Al's really gotten me into some anime. I have been staunchly anti-anime most of my life, and mostly because anime to me is a very specific thing.
Mhm.
It's very like over the top, loud, and sexist is
Big
what
titties.
is
Yeah.
what's been programmed in my brain of what anime is. And Al's been able to open that up because there's a lot of really funny comedy based satire, really kind of biting anime out there that I wasn't aware of. So that's been fun. So watching that, shout out to 30 Rock. I can't believe I got this far without saying the word 30 Rock.
Oh,
With
night cheeks.
working on my night cheese. Now that goes, 30 Rock is a very, so let's talk about white people trying to right their wrongs. Because do you know what I mean? Because a lot of times I might have to edit this out. We'll see, Tim. But a lot of times what we get when people talk about content that may be inappropriate or even was wrong at the time, a lot of people will just say, oh, it's of the time and they didn't mean anything by it, blah blah blah. And in 30 Rock, if anybody who's watched 30 Rock will know that there are a handful of episodes that feature blackface. And I'm and what I'll say is that I think at the time what they thought they were doing was making a commentary about the ridiculousness of those characters thinking they could do it. And that was the joke, that they were delusional enough to think that they could get away with it.
Yeah.
Which is why I think the writers thought that they could go down that road. But in hindsight, they realized that these are storylines and aspects that aren't appreciated, regardless of the joke or what was meant to be. And so they've removed those episodes, so you can't watch them anymore. You can't
Unless
watch
you have
them
the
anyway.
DVD box.
Unless you have the DVD box, you can buy the old versions of it. But Tina Fey kind of came out and she's like, I hear you, I hear it, and we're gonna remove it. And it's one of those things, like it's one of those few times where I feel like, okay, do you want to edit history? Do you want to comment on it? How do you do those things? And she's like, I get it. That's where we were. And we really don't think that that's a bridge we needed to cross. So we got it out of the timeline. They kind of made the edit for it, which I thought was interesting. It's a different way to talk about those kind of things when you're trying to approach.
And for me, I think I'm very glad that they are aware of the, kind of wrong or untasteful
Sure, yeah.
nature of their writing. But also, when you erase things, sometimes you don't give the next generation to learn from those mistakes, and they create something maybe even worse. That is,
Yeah.
but I do understand, if you don't want that to be a part of your legacy, then take it out, whatever.
Yeah, you understand what happened and you do what you can to correct it. And in this case, it happened. You can't take that back, but you can say, like, from this point forward, we feel as part of the canon, we got it out of there because we knew that it was wrong. So
it would be nice if they had something in, like, during those episodes, like, instead of just taking out and be like, it never existed.
Right.
Like, being like, white people are stupid sometimes.
Right.
We didn't want y'all to be watching it, but we did something stupid.
It's just a 20-minute.
It out.
It's just a 20-minute. Episode 3 of 30 Rock is now replaced with the title card, white people.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Like, the mess. Like,
okay.
But yeah.
Before we go to our first break, Tim, which TV character do you think I'm most like?
So this is, I really hope that this doesn't come off shady
Oh,
because
I knew you were gonna say that.
it's not shady. It's just true. For me, you are Doug
Oh, I'm Doug.
because
Okay.
you're surrounded by people of color and like
Oh, okay. So
you
I'm a
are
the
you're
pasty
cool.
guy.
No,
Aww.
no. I didn't think you're the pasty guy. I just
No,
feel
no,
like
but I mean like the pasty guy
you're
surrounded
the
by.
Doug funny. You're funny. You're
Okay.
the funny white guy in the midst of the people of color that love you. So,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah.
That's
Quail
very
man,
sweet.
if you will.
Quail man in my tidy whities. I appreciate that.
What about
Okay.
me? Be careful. I'm
I
sensitive about
know.
my shit.
I know. And I've debated this, but I feel
You know what? I'm gonna be okay with anything that you say, so I'm fine.
I don't think you're ready for this. Can you give me a top two guess of who you think I'm gonna say? Go.
Tony Childs and Girlfriends, and that's a laughable one because I know you've never watched it.
Don't watch
Um,
girlfriends.
and maybe I don't know, Little Bill.
Little Bill.
He was
Who that?
he's like the Caillou of black people. Like,
You ready?
yes.
Ned Stark.
Oh
I
damn, he
know.
dead?
No, and I know. I'm actually just happy that you remember that because I know you had zero joy in watching Game of Thrones with me, and that is something.
Wait. Okay,
Hold on, hold on.
I had joy after maybe like the third season because like I attached myself to a story plot. A
Yeah, you
story.
loved Arya. You were
Yeah.
a huge. No, so I think of you as Ned because you have a North Star with your morality. Like you are a great person at heart. You're just um you think of people as chaotic, neutral or good or bad, and you were just a good person.
Oh.
You love to have fun and you love to like play around a little bit, but at the end of the day, like morally, like you do the right thing, and then you also cannot speak up for like when you see wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Ned like has that. Like Ned is a moral person. He's got like a law that he follows internally, um, even if it means that he loses his head.
Yeah.
There's a morality there that he's got to follow, and so you're my Ned
So
Stark.
basically what you're saying is um at the end of this season you're gonna kill me off. And that's fine. I understand. That's cool.
Only if you found out my secret that I'm having sex with my twin.
It you know what? The main character would know these things. Like,
This is true. This is true. This is a very awkward way to go to break, Tim, but I think we need to go to break.
you want me dead. Bye.
Bye. Hey, Tim, we're back. Oh
We're
my gosh.
back. You wanted me dead.
You off with his head. We are racing against the drag race clock, people, so we're gonna try to get this going. Tim, what are some of your TV crushes? Like when you think
Okay.
back, like who are you crushing on?
So Dan from Roseanne, the actual character, the actor today is a very lovely older gentleman. I'm not interested in that one. I am interested in the seasons of Roseanne Dan.
Specifically 89 to 97, if anybody
Yeah.
cares. Yeah, gotcha.
I also loved King Triton from The Little Mermaid. He was on the Little Mermaid had a show for a long time. I was way too old to be watching it, but King Triton was cute.
Got it.
So also, I felt like Uncle Phil could have got it. Um,
Uncle Phil, what about Carl Winslow? Too
The one
short.
that's actually gay, no.
Too short. Yeah.
He's just a little too short and a little too like I didn't feel safe with him. I did not in a sense of like he was gonna touch me or anything, but like if there was a problem, I don't think that he would have came to my rescue. I think he would have ran.
Sure.
Yes, because he didn't even save his third child that went upstairs and never came back.
Never came back. She never came back down, did she?
Judy Winslow, where
Judy.
are you? Are you okay?
She's doing adult content, and that's fine too.
Well, you know,
You take
once
care
you
of
go
her.
down the drug road.
Whoo! Tim, any other highlights of your TV crushes?
Actually, from Noah's Ark, Trey.
Yeah.
Trey from Noah's Ark. Also, I thought Ricky was very cute, and as always, anything he is in, Wilson Cruz will always be my forever boo, and that is odd because I generally don't do it for like Boy Next Doors.
Yeah.
It's
That's
usually
fair.
a big thickum, and he is not that, but he is so cute.
So
Wilson
cute.
Cruz, if you ever want to date me, you can.
I'm tech avail, is what they say.
Yes.
Technically available.
Yes, available for all things, in all things, in all ways. What about you? Who are your crushes?
Who were my crushes? I had a really big thing for Willow on Buffy. Love a good lesbian witch vibe. Always here for it.
Yes. So did you were you staunchly for the red hair? Did you like her in black hair?
So Willow,
quote
unquote, Dark Willow is my favorite villain from Buffy.
Okay.
I love a villain that hits close to home.
Yeah.
Man, Allison Hannigan.
You break my girlfriend and I break your spirit.
Yeah. Later seasons, David Boreanaz as Angel. Also, early seasons, he's a little too. He looks a little withdrawn in the way he's kind of doing it, but beefcake. He gets beefcaked in the Angel seasons.
Yeah,
David Boreanaz
he grows up. He becomes dad. Like
yes. So random HBO show, 6 Feet Under, which is one of those heartstring shows for me. Nate, the main character, a granola eating runner. He is not usually my type, but Nate, I see you. I miss you. I hope you're okay. Always really had a thing for Nate. I'm trying to think about more recent things. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to think too. I think people just look normal now to me.
So, and again, side note, everybody, Tim is not generally a graphic horror person. Like, he does not watch horror movies. He doesn't watch anything with graphic violence. It's not his cup of tea, which I appreciate.
My everyday life is just like, it's thrilling enough.
Yes.
I'm okay with no.
Yes.
No
Although I don't seek out horror films or graphic violence TV in general, I will hop on a train for pop culture, which is what happened with Game of Thrones. So I was watching Game of Thrones, which happens to have a lot of gore and violence. Tim and I were living with each other, and Tim, for some strange reason, agreed to watch it with me. And
I love you so much.
You love me, and it was something we could talk about. And again, it was in the zeitgeist at the time. So we watched it together, and I say all this to say Pedro Pascal, who is having a moment right now in the zeitgeist again, because The Last of Us, by the way, a show I love. Talk about what's on right now, Last of Us. Oh my God! But he is the father figure in that show. But he had this amazing run on season 4 of Game of Thrones as the bisexual Prince of Dorne.
That was him.
It was him. Yeah. See, and. He met a very gruesome end, but that's where I was introduced to him. I'm kind of lying. Unbeknownst to me, he was in an episode of Buffy, season 4 of Buffy, Pedro coming out as a college student. Anyway, Pedro's been in my life, even if I didn't know it, for a very long time, and enjoying all of his TikTok love. Tim, I don't know if you've seen any of Pedro Pascal's TikToks, but
I've
that
only seen like a couple things, and like I know it enough that he's like doing something. I didn't know he was in The Last of Us. I was like, oh, this man is obviously in something that people are like going ham because he's like mildly attractive. And I was like,
he,
okay.
yeah, I'm here for that. So I'm into it. I'm into it.
Mhm.
Tim, what's a show that like changed your perspective or something that kind of pivoted you on in life that you kind of feel is like life altering?
So I talked about one of my crushes being Trey from Noah's Ark. Noah's Ark is the show that
Yeah.
literally changed the trajectory of how I view black homosexuality.
Hmm.
Um, in I mean, first when I first was flipping through the channels and it was on Logo, and I saw this chocolate man on top riding this light skinned man, I was like, "What? We can do that?" Because you would think anatomy, maybe that's not possible, um, but it is, and so that immediately changed the way that I viewed sex with a partner, and then watching the show, just seeing multiple black men in different walks of life being friends and being there for each other in ways that um I had never seen before. uh they were a lot of them were feminine,
Yeah.
yet still accepted and still strong. Their partners were also strong men and helpful to the situation a lot of times. Yes, there were hijinks and there were a lot of problems. Listen, there were a lot of things that if you go back and look, you'd be like, that is not a thing. But for
Right.
it to be the first um of its kind out there, it really did show me. I will just speak for myself. I can't speak for, a group of people, but it really just let me know that who I am is viable, it is out there, and there are people who I can um emulate until I can figure out for myself who I am. Shout out to all those actors and Patrick Ian Polk. Um, he was the writer, and some of the songs on there, some of those songs to this day
Hmm.
are on my like most played uh playlist,
Yeah.
and it's so good. I every there's not a day that I'm not affected by something that I saw on Noah's Ark, and I'm really appreciative of it. Anyway, um,
No.
we are.
It's beautiful. No, I remember. Shout out to Kevin, our favorite guest speaker, on this
Hey,
podcast. Hey,
Kevin.
Kevin. Um, I remember like Kevin was like, "I've got to show you something." I was like, "What are you going to show me?" And we curled up on his couch, and we went through all of Noah's Ark. And I remember thinking like, I had seen predominantly black TV shows before. I'd seen,
No.
Cosby Show and Different
Mhm.
World and Living Color and all that stuff. Sorry, Living Single. Um, but to see a show predominantly, not predominantly, all black characters with a queer story arc is like, I
Yeah.
remember sitting there with Kevin and going like, somebody produced this. Somebody saw the storyline, put money behind it, and put it
Yeah.
on, and just thinking like, this doesn't happen.
It doesn't, and it's still not happening
No, no,
today.
no, it's
It's not.
not.
A lot of like, I am so appreciative that we are looking at different avenues of black life,
Yeah.
and we are depicting it, and it is being put on by black writers and their perspectives, but I feel like we are still missing a prime time TV black queer story. I just I don't see it, and I'm talking about primetime. If you want to talk about YouTube, there's For the Boys. There is, Slay TV has a slew of things
Mhm.
on YouTube. But there, for some reason, the powers that be are not giving the money to those people to then put it in in the mainstream of things.
Sure.
Because even Noah's Ark, you could there could be people on this earth that have never seen it, won't see it. You probably wouldn't have seen it had it been for Kevin, because I
No.
certainly wasn't going to show it to you, because I did not show it to. I have a roommate. I had a roommate. You know him.
Mhm.
Um, he had asked if he could see it. I was like, absolutely not, because one thing you're not going to do, you're not going to trash my one and only thing that I have for myself.
Right. So, exactly. So when we have one example, right? It's
Yes,
held up to a standard. It's like this
it
is the
is.
only kind of thing that exists. And if you ridicule it, it's over,
Yeah,
right? But we don't even live in a world where we have something to compare it to
exactly.
criticize it because there's nothing else like it.
It's
And
kind of like Tyler Perry. For a long time, there was not anything to critique him on. It's horrible, bullcrap, and not good. But it was the only thing we had up until the Ryan Cooglers of the world could get to things
I would
like
just
Black Panther.
I would just like
And
to note that as the white guy on the show, I said nothing bad about Tyler Perry. This is all Tim.
Tyler Perry, you're a billionaire, and you could shove a sock in my mouth and fuck me up sideways. But like, it doesn't matter. Like, he's attractive, he can get it too. But
Oh,
it
side
doesn't
note, that is another episode. I'm going to put that on our calendar.
it doesn't matter. He makes trash things because he doesn't have, well, I won't say trash. He makes a particular type of show based on his lens of where he comes from.
Right.
And it's female bashing, gay bashing stuff. And it's fine, but you gotta wonder why he wants to focus on that. Anyway, the point is,
Sorry. Yes. Sorry. Yeah.
it TV does not have black. I want to see the people from Strange Loop
Mm,
adapting that to a TV show.
yeah.
I want money behind it. I want drag race money behind that.
That's right.
I want to see, I want to see another Paris is Burning for today. I want to see, girlfriends. Um, like, oh, that's our drag
That's the
race.
drag race alarm. That's okay.
Um,
For
no,
anybody,
I
for anybody out there that heard Tim say "Strange Loop" and are going, "What is that?" Go to Spotify, go to YouTube, get to the music. Just go do it.
buy a ticket if you can.
Yeah.
Um, go see it. There's not a time that because I watch a lot of a Strange Loop, looking at it on TikTok. There's not a TikTok that I haven't cried about
Yeah.
because it resonates with me so hard.
Yeah.
So, and I want authenticity on the screen.
Yeah.
If it's going to be there. It's fine if it's not, because it hasn't been. So it's whatever.
Listen, we are not above reality, fake produced stuff. Like we love the filth just like
No.
anybody else. But it
Yeah.
would be nice to have a dramatic, beautiful piece of art that reflects different parts of our culture that we do not have in any kind of plentiful way.
Yeah.
Um, and again, we're saying Noah's Ark. I'm sure there's some people out there that may not be aware of what we mean by that or are thinking about the
No,
biblical aspect.
I'm sure there are a lot of
Um,
people out there that do not know anything about that.
Yeah, I won't try to describe it to ruin anything for you, but go out there and look for it. It's worth
It's
watching, and
yeah,
it's worth understanding what we're talking about, which is this
yeah,
thing existed 15 years ago, and nobody has tried to make another thing like it. And it's this beautiful piece of pop culture that was a blip in time. And
yeah. And it really transformed how a lot of black gay people saw themselves
yeah,
in in this culture that we live in where we create everything and then it gets taken and misconstrued and made for profit from other communities. And a lot of times the people who are the very creators are the ones that are the least apt to get the praise for their creations.
Yeah.
Um
Amen.
yeah. So yes, we're okay, listen.
We're good.
What is something that has changed your scope?
Oh wow, yeah. So I've talked a little bit about this already, but Buffy the Vampire Slayer was one of those shows. It came out when I was in my teens. Seeing a strong female character like that, dealing with the real world, but also the weight of the world on their shoulders, the Buffyisms, the way we speak,
Yeah.
that type of humor. I know that obviously Joss Whedon has gone from a geek god to facing some real pushback because of some of the things that have come to light and the way he works and the way he's worked with people in the past. So um, understand the criticism there, but the show itself in a vacuum is just this beautiful piece of late 90s early 2000s pop culture.
Yeah.
And I can't watch those last few seasons without crying and just thinking about becoming an adult
Yeah.
and realizing what it means to be an adult and be self-sufficient even when you don't have anything and you're just clawing to survive.
And dealing with the monsters of life, right?
It's yeah. So I will always fight for Buffy even when its creator is proven to be not as sweet as maybe we thought, but love that. And Angel is part of that too, just really great drama storytelling. And yeah, that was one
He
of my
really created a world where, there are specific characters that live on, and
yeah, beyond
really
exactly.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, when the culture attaches to something, it really does get away from the creator in a way that um is a beautiful thing when it touches that
Yeah.
many people. Again, even when they mess up or they demonstrate their lack of awareness, it doesn't take away from some of those things that were created and that the people kind of take on themselves. So,
Yeah.
okay, that's that. We're gonna do a quick break and come back and wrap this up, and we'll be right back.
Bye.
Bye. Hey Tim, we're back. Are you ready for some Drag Race, Tim?
Hey.
Are you
Oh
ready
my
for some Drag Race?
God. I just hope the best drag queen wins.
Wins. So before we wrap it up, quick shout out to everybody. Tim and I continue to be amazed by the people who take the time to listen to us. This is an excuse for me and Tim to hang out and stay in touch. I love you from the bottom of my heart, and this is just fun time for me.
Yeah.
But people seem to enjoy it and chime in and make fan art about it. And
I mean, people are really just enjoying what I get to be a part of, our friendship.
yeah,
And the honesty and the authenticity that it is.
yeah,
And I just really appreciate them for listening and understanding that while we are not speaking for anybody but ourselves, um and that it's for entertainment purposes, they also can get a little something, bits and pieces out of it to maybe make their day a
yeah,
little. Yeah.
yeah. Just shout out to everybody listening. Thank you so much.
Shout out to y'all. Mwah.
Tim, what's making you live this week?
Well, as I said, I have been doing my little diet. And so leaves and water. I have been living on these things that you should be living on water, right? As you drink all the wine.
There's water in this grape juice.
But it is my last day of doing this because today I was taking a nap in my car at my job because I can. And I woke up and I saw spots. So, shout out to 500 calories a day. She won't be doing that any longer, at least for a little while.
Listen to
Uh,
your body. Yep.
yeah, I'm listening to my, body in my 30s. She's no longer the 29-year-old girl that could, not eat for days and be fine. Um, I am getting older and I require nourishment that is beyond um those calorie restrictions. So while I appreciate the weight and um the nutrients that I did get, um yeah, I'm living for that. I'm living for getting food tomorrow. I'm so
Amen.
excited. Yeah. What about
Nice.
you? What are you living for?
Tim, I am living for the season of tours. So
Mm.
I can't I'm gonna try not to fangirl out so late in this episode because we got to go. Um Obviously the last three episodes we've talked about Beyonce. We are so excited to go see the Queen.
Uh,
She doesn't come around very often on
please.
tour.
I know y'all was waiting
um,
for it. I know y'all was waiting for it.
heated. So we got tickets to the
Yada,
Queen.
yada, yada, yada.
Um, I I got tickets. I'm just going to say this out loud. I know nobody cares. I got tickets to go see Alter Bridge and Seven Dust. They are
I
two,
love Alter Bridge.
yeah, they're two metal acts that I love, and I love them independently, and they're going on a co-headlining tour together. And
Nice.
so excited. So I get to see them in May. And then Tim, I don't even think I told you about this.
No, you have not.
I posted about it, so you probably know. But I mean, I know you follow me. Um, so two of my heroes, Tina Fey, as mentioned in 30 Rock, and Amy Poehler from SNL and Parks and Rec, and I just absolutely love them both,
Mhm.
are going on a 4-city tour and doing a comedy tour together. And
Cute.
I got tickets to see them in Atlantic City in June, with two of our favorite people, Dan and Michelle. Shout out to Dan and Michelle and
Hi,
Rat Friend.
Dan. Hi,
Mm,
Michelle.
mm-hmm,
Hi,
mm-hmm.
Dan.
Yeah, you did.
Um, Hi,
But
Michelle.
those tickets sold out very quickly, and we were able to snag up like three of them, and so I get to go see my comedy hero. Like
Good.
Tina Fey is not a stand-up comic, so she doesn't really do tours like this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the idea that I get to go see her and her best friend Amy Poehler, who I also love, is just like, so I'm living for like all my favorite people going on tour this year and not
That's
being in
so
a lockdown COVID
cute.
situation to actually go see them. And
Right? I saw that there were tickets on the European leg of Lizzo, and
mm-hmm. Did some daydreaming.
I was like, man, I could really just call out of work and go go,
Do
go
it.
to Denmark.
I mean, I thought about it for Beyonce too. I mean, like seeing Beyonce over in
Seeing Beyonce the 21st, the day after my birthday,
that's right, she's in Europe for your birthday.
the
Mm,
first day of summer,
hmm
hearing Summer Renaissance
It's a
on the
renaissance.
first day of summer.
All right, we're gonna have to take this offline. We're gonna have to figure something out. So.
Okay, we're gonna have to deal with that. Um,
Tim, I love you so much.
I love you.
It's Cub and Chub at Cub and Chub at on
Anything you can
Instagram.
stalk your exes on.
Yeah, anything anything you can stalk your exes on is at Cub and Chub. Buy our merch. We'll have a merch update next week. We didn't even talk about it this week, but anyway,
Yes.
we'll talk about our merch later. Jesus.
Ugh.
We'll open up with that next week. But ladies, gentlemen, and everybody, we love you so much. Thank you for joining us.
Girls, gays, and theys, we love you. Ugh.
Mwah. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.
Bye.
Did you want some random Beyonce content? Because here it is. Did Beyonce do a remix with Vogue?
Child, okay, yes.
I did. I
That
did
was the
engage
Queen's
with it.
remix. So that was the Queen's remix.
Mhm.
And she also just did a remix to Cuff It, which I'm so glad that somebody or her, I'm gonna assume it's her because she's
Give her,
such a goddess.
give her the credit.
Like, she's so tapped in
Mm-hmm.
to the culture. There was a DJ that did a remix with Wetter from Twista back in the day.
Okay.
Such a good song. But he took the beat of that and then put Cuff It over it. And
Oh.
it has been ripping TikTok to shreds. Everybody is like using the sound and everything. I think I may have used it for one of our oh, the show is out things.
Okay.
And it's so good. And guess what? She made a whole nother remix to the song.
She did a remix of Cuff It to that sample?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's going back to the days where songs and remixes are the song and the remix are two different songs.
Yeah.
Like, it's going back to the days of like making love in the club.
Oh, yeah.
Like, two different songs. Like, and the one where she's with Justin Timberlake, and she basically did a whole nother song with him that made his remix so much better. So like, it's calling back to those types of days, and I love her.
So good.
So good.
Okay.
Her team is amazing.